This episode is sponsored by Upstart and Mac Weldon.
Is Twitter racist? Well, I mean, it's certainly home to plenty of racists, but specifically, is a specific algorithm within Twitter that chooses how to crop images for preview racist? Can an algorithm even be racist? All right, I can already see the confusion on most of your faces, so let's just back up a bit. Have you ever posted a picture on Twitter, and the picture is an especially wide or tall picture, and then the version that shows up on the timeline is cropped in some weird way that makes it look bad or ruins the joke or hides the actual relevant part of the photo? It can happen pretty easily. I mean, Twitter crops the preview image of any picture that isn't already cropped to a perfect 16:9 aspect ratio. Presumably they do this to keep the timeline less cluttered. But it doesn't just crop it to whatever's right there, dead center. It actually chooses what to focus on.
Yeah, that's been a change that happened over time because I've noticed that it does, up until this point, I'm like, oh, well, because usually you're not testing it the way that we're about to talk about. But it's like, oh, it actually centered that pretty well.
Yeah.
Hey, good for you, algorithm.
Yeah. But the results, sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're annoying and weird and bad.
Yeah.
But also, sometimes they can seem pretty damn racist.
Yeah, over the weekend, a user named Tony Arcieri tried a little experiment. He posted 2 long images, each featuring a photo of Barack Obama at one end, Senator Mitch McConnell at the other end, and a whole bunch of blank space in between them. Surprisingly, Twitter chose Mitch McConnell's face for the preview crop on both of the images, despite Mitch being at the top of one and at the bottom of another. So, okay, maybe it's the color of their neckties or something. So Tony flipped the colors of the ties, but still, the crops picked Mitch McConnell, the white guy, over Barack Obama, the black guy. Someone else then jumped in and tried to see what would happen if they doubled the number of Obamas. I'm seeing double. But even with 2 Obamas next to 1 McConnell, the algorithm picked McConnell. And Tony Arcieri was then able to finally achieve different results by inverting the colors, with the algorithm now cropping 1 image to blue Mitch and 1 image to blue Barack.
So someone else then tried the same experiment with a stock photo of a white businessman and a stock photo of a black businessman. And once again, in 4 different attempts, Twitter chose the white businessman. Someone else then tried taking things even further to an extreme with a column of 11 stock photos of a black man with 1 single stock photo of a white man, and Twitter still picked that lone white guy. So, okay, I don't know, maybe in this case it's just choosing the one face that's different from the rest. Except no, because when someone tried the opposite, 11 white faces and 1 black face, it still picked the white face. This person here even tried a stock photo of a black man and then the same exact photo but with a white face over it, like Hannibal Lecter style.
Yeah.
And the algorithm thought that this horror show was more relevant than the perfectly normal looking person not wearing a human face as a mask.
Yeah, there was like a couple hypotheses around this, like, well, in the picture, Mitch McConnell has a bigger smile or something like that. And everyone kept trying different ways to, like, it was the biggest, like, social science experiment I've seen in a while on Twitter.
Oh my God.
And the results, while horrifying, it was hilarious that it took so many attempts to get anything to work correctly.
Yeah.
And it just never really did unless you inverted the
I remember I was scrolling this thread like over the weekend, just like, wow, this, like, the first one I'm like, that's interesting. Just like more and more replies, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, after a while it's like, well, this is intentional. Yeah. So what is going on here? Clearly the algorithm wants to crop images around faces, but how does an algorithm know what a face is? Well, algorithms only know what humans train them to know, so with faces, that means feeding it a bunch of pictures of faces and telling it, that's a face. And if the vast majority of faces that you feed that algorithm are white faces, and you don't go out of your way to train it that, hey, there's other non-white faces out there, you're going to have an algorithm that probably is going to heavily favor white faces when it's playing Find the Face.
Yeah.
Hey, look, that's the thing you taught me to point out.
Yeah.
And this has been an ongoing, much discussed problem with AI and facial recognition for a long time now. We've covered it as recently as like a week or 2 ago.
Yeah.
We've previously discussed on this show how facial recognition programs used by law enforcement often can't tell black people apart, which is a pretty serious problem in a country where simply being a suspect of a crime can be a death sentence.
Yeah. So, I mean, compared to stuff like that, This is maybe less of a big deal, but it's all part of the same problem of AIs either not recognizing non-white faces as faces or seeing them as less of a face than a white face that might be next to it. And with AI becoming more and more a part of just like how the world works, that is something to worry about. So it is a good thing that after these posts started going viral, Twitter employees actually addressed the need to get to the bottom of this and figure out why their algorithm does this and try to do something about it.
I guarantee you those Twitter employees did the same thing that everyone else did, where they're like, the first one, they're like, huh, that's strange, probably shouldn't have happened. And then 10 posts later, we're like,
wow,
we're in a lot of trouble here. Did you see the one where they put Justin Trudeau and then Justin Trudeau in blackface and it picked him as like the normal one?
I mean, with that one, it was the shitty like black and white high res blackface photo. But it was a funny example. There's a lot of, we'll get to a lot more funny examples of this in a second. But hopefully they do something about this. I mean, it's likely that it wasn't even Twitter's algorithm. They probably licensed it from someone else, which is actually scarier because this same facial recognition, whatever data could be being used by all sorts of programs right now. But this issue, it actually goes a lot deeper than just black faces versus white faces. And maybe these next few examples, they might just be confirmation bias. But this shit goes deep. This is some real Matthew McConaughey, like, smoking a cigarette sort of shit.
Yeah, remember the old Simpsons bit with the black comedian saying, black guys drive a car like this, white guys drive a car like this. Elliot is famous for loving this one. Well, someone fed both those stills to Twitter, and it picked the white guy drives a car like this still both times.
What is going on?
Hilarious. Speaking of The Simpsons, someone fed the algorithm pictures of Lenny and Carl, and it picked Lenny both times. And if you were wondering to yourself earlier what would happen if it was a picture of a black man and another picture of the same black man in whiteface, well, here's Dave Chappelle and Dave Chappelle in whiteface. And Twitter picked white Dave Chappelle both times. And hell, here's some dogs. Even with pictures of dogs, the algorithm picked a white dog over a black dog. Undeniable.
Yeah. Now, obviously, not all pictures have a black guy and a white guy to choose between. Twitter still has to choose where the focus of the image is for their crop. So, I mean, the testing possibilities here are kind of endless. You can do this with any two photos. Here's Senator Ted Cruz, and also that exact same picture of Ted Cruz, but with big old anime breasts. And Twitter clearly likes breasts because that's what it picked both times.
They get more views.
Yep.
Yeah. Now I want a Ted Cruz anime titty mouse pad. So you rest your wrist on it.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
How about this? Will Twitter choose former President Barack Obama, or will it choose Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z, sticking out his big, thick butt? That's right, thick butt, Piccolo it is. That's what gets the clicks. We even tried this experiment with pictures of the two of us taken from a recent episode. It's the same background, same lighting. We're both wearing hats, both wearing LAFC hats, to be even more specific. Weird. And it chose me over Ricky every single time, even with multiple Rickies. I ran this experiment so many times, it never picked you.
That's because your parents, your liberal parents, kept you inside doing doodles all day, and I was a beach baby because my mom and dad just wanted to party all the time, so I was on the beach 24 hours a day. So I got a nice base layer going.
Yeah, I mean...
Also, I go on walks all day, every day.
Was it like, okay, this man is clearly, he's slightly more tanned. He has the slightest hint of a mustache, so that must be a Mexican I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And, well, sorry, buddy. I'm going to go with the white guy. I mean, it could be... we don't know why. Is it the glasses? Is like beard and glasses just an easier pattern for it to pick up? But like, this was fucking weird.
I was holding on to this news to break it to you in private, but I've accepted a teaching gig at George Washington University.
Teaching African American studies?
Yeah, they called me up when they saw the Twitter algorithm.
We have an opening. Vacancy. Well, you're really black though, right?
Yeah, no.
We had a problem with that last
Twitter
time.
said so. It's fine.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
The algorithm didn't pick you?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't even need the DNA test.
Yeah.
Twitter has clearly chosen.
But Joe Biden said, buddy, if the Twitter algorithm picks you, you ain't black.
Yeah. Did anyone do a Joe Biden versus Donald Trump?
I think I saw one that was like cartoon version, then it picked Biden. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, in addition to the race issue, there's clearly a lot more at play with how Twitter's algorithm chooses to crop photos. Is it contrast, color saturation, smiling, the presence of text, the background, big fat anime titties? We don't know. It's probably a combination of all of those things. And asking a machine learning algorithm to actually choose the most important part of an image is actually a lot to be asking of it. So I don't know. Maybe just let people choose how their image is going to be cropped. That seems like it would solve a lot of the problems.
Yeah.
They already have a thing where you can select the sizes. Just select the highlighted area.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it would be that big of an issue.
Yeah.
But
Could have avoided all of it.
Twitter's going to be like, well, you know what happens when you give people too much freedom on their social platforms? It turns into MySpace within 5 minutes. You got people's songs playing on their profiles, rotating, glistening, animated GIFs of roses.
And then top 8. These are my top 8 friends. Sorry, you're not in it.
Yeah. Anyways, look, if for some reason you upload an image that's too tall or too wide for the preview to crop, maybe you should just have the ability to drag something over it.
It's like, what? How do you want this cropped for preview purposes? Okay, right here, the thing I want to show.
You know who would love this? Businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in almost any actual like business medium, like if you go to get flyers or business cards or whatever printed, they have that zone that's like, hey, this is the safe zone. Maybe Twitter should have that.
Well, and like the trick that people have used to get around this is taking, a long, tall image, putting a box around it so the image is 16 by 9. But if you open up that image on your phone, you've now got borders on 4 sides and just a tiny sliver of an image in the middle. It's fucking dumb.
Even the Apple chip is going to fizzle out with this kind of processing power. Anyways, look, this is something that is and was and will continue, at least in the near future, to be an issue with AI.
Yeah.
It's great that people found it, though. It's like people wouldn't have noticed it unless it went viral, and then Twitter can actually focus on fixing the problem.
Yeah, but it's a problem that's completely unnecessary. Like, we don't need AI to do everything.
No. We can do things ourselves.
We can do things ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're actually pretty good at it.
And if someone has a bad crop on an image that they're sharing, we'll all know it's their fault.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
Think about it. Anyways, moving on now to a different social network that is somehow steeped in even more controversy than the one with the possibly racist algorithm, TikTok. And that controversy is, of course, because the Trump administration ordered them to either shut down U.S. operations or sell to a U.S. company by September 20th or maybe September 15th. They were never totally clear on that, but I guess it was September 20th.
Yeah.
And that was all on the grounds that the Chinese-owned app is a national security risk. Well, September 20th has come and gone, as has September 15th. And last week we told you that the whole situation had been resolved just in time, thanks to a deal between TikTok parent company ByteDance and the U.S. company Oracle.
Yeah, I guess it's all. See you later.
I guess that's taken care of.
So yeah, Oracle bought TikTok, right? Well, no, not at all, actually. The deal was reported as Oracle becoming TikTok's trusted technology partner. Meaning
That's a thing that exists.
It means TikTok's U.S. data would be stored on Oracle's servers, with Oracle's job being to prevent the Chinese government from using any back doors to get to the data. It's unclear how exactly that would work, or if it's even technically possible with an international app like TikTok that's constantly being updated, but that's where we are now. Also, what's Oracle doing with that data? Just because it's hosted here in the U.S. doesn't mean that they're not using it for some nefarious purpose.
When a foreign app collects your data, that's step one to go into war.
Yeah.
But if, Mark Zuckerberg does it,
it's completely fine.
it's fine.
Anyways, that's where we were last week, actually, because this saga, it hasn't reached its conclusion. It's still happening.
Yeah.
Please stop it from happening.
Yeah, so despite that deal with Oracle, it was reported on Friday that the U.S. Department of Commerce, ran by that Wilbur Ross fellow, they were going to go ahead and just start restricting access to both TikTok and WeChat anyway, starting on Sunday the 20th.
Fuck it.
Meaning that the apps would no longer be available for download from the App Store or Google Play Store, and updates and patches would also be blocked.
Oh my God. Imagine having an iPhone with Fortnite and TikTok on it.
Wow.
Jesus, walking around like King Midas.
Valuable. For WeChat, the restrictions would have been even more strict, with ISPs banned from even allowing WeChat internet traffic. So TikTok would be crippled in the US, but WeChat would be effectively fully dead in the US.
We should probably remind you that, WeChat isn't just used by Chinese spies.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that use WeChat specifically, Chinese Americans who are talking to family back home.
Yeah.
Businessmen who are doing legitimate business deals.
Yeah. It's an international messaging app, but used by a lot of people, including a lot of people in the United States.
Yeah. But look, none of that happened. So, well. TikTok got a stay of execution because Trump came out at the last second and said, I have given the deal my blessing. If they get it done, that's great. If they don't, that's okay too. I approve the deal in concept. What? Cool.
Sounds good.
And somehow that was the least confusing this man said all weekend. Following that announcement, the Department of Commerce said it would delay the TikTok shutdown for another week.
All right, you get 7 days.
Just keeping people on edge as much as possible in every aspect of daily life.
Yeah.
As for Wechat, the messaging app that originally got the same ultimatum as TikTok, a judge issued a preliminary injunction blocking the Commerce Department's ban on First Amendment speech grounds. So, there you go. It's literally one of the main ways people in the U.S. communicate with people in China. And like I said, it's a lot of family members, so it kind of makes sense that would happen.
Yeah.
The whole thing is such a mess, and we knew a month ago that this was too short of a timeline to do anything.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it was an absurd request.
Yes.
Anyway, that deal with Trump that Trump approved of in concept, that also changed in the meantime with Walmart joining the party alongside Oracle.
Time to roll back that restriction.
Yeah. So Walmart's actual role is entirely unclear, but they'll be a part owner of a new entity called Tick-Tock Global that will be traded on the U.S. stock market, with the ownership breaking down to 12.5% Oracle, 7.5% Walmart, and 80% ByteDance, the Chinese company that owns TikTok.
Oh, wow.
So a Chinese company will still own the vast majority of this new American TikTok, but because 40% of ByteDance is actually technically owned by US-based venture capital firms, the Trump administration's logic here is that Tick-Tock Global will be majority US-owned by a slim margin.
My job here is done.
But also by that logic, TikTok was already 40% US-owned.
Yes.
So all that just for an extra 15%. Great.
So does this solve any of the original supposedly deadly serious national security concerns that led to this whole circus? Well, that's certainly questionable, but hey, Oracle got a huge new customer for their cloud data business, so that's good for them, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Then Walmart gets access to a bunch of user data to presumably sell crap to teenagers.
Yeah,
good
nice
for them, I guess. And surely it's just a coincidence that Oracle chairman Larry Ellison is a huge Trump supporter and donor, as are several members of the Walton family who own most of Walmart.
Okay.
Crony capitalism is what China does. We don't do that here, folks.
No,
but
no.
If there was one thing we were going to steal from TikTok, it was the great ideas that led them to the success that TikTok was. Anyways, that's where we are now. I mean, we got another Sunday coming up.
Yeah.
So who knows? There's still the possibility that China tries to block the deal or make it more complicated than it already is. So certainly not the last we're going to hear about any of this.
I don't think they're going to take this lying down, because this is a huge slap in the face to them.
Yeah.
And it's all about respect. It's all about respect when you're dealing with the Chinese Communist Party. This is a big sign of disrespect. Mm-hmm. They're gonna make this harder than it needs to be. If they weren't already using TikTok to fuck us over, they might start.
Yeah, what a mess.
So,
what an absolute fucking mess. That no one benefited from except for two large corporations. Yeah. Great. Yeah. We did it, everyone.
Solving none of the issues that prompted this in the first place.
You didn't do anything. Didn't I? Didn't I?
Anyway, speaking of social video, let's check in on YouTube.
We need your help, everyone.
The site you're on right now.
Yes.
Hopefully, you didn't have to click through an automated age gate to see this video, because YouTube let all us creators know this week in an email that, effective immediately, quote, "We'll be expanding the use of automated systems along with our team of expert reviewers to apply age restrictions to videos that aren't appropriate for all ages. With greater safeguards in place, you may see videos on your channel placed behind an age restriction, which limits the content to viewers who are at least 18 years old. We anticipate little to no impact to your video's monetization, as age-restricted videos are likely not suitable for all advertisers and will have already been rated as limited or ineligible for ads. As always, you can appeal an age restriction if you believe this was applied in error."
Cool. Lots to unpack there. First of all, regardless of if it impacts monetization or not, it will impact views. Yeah. So essentially, if you didn't have to click through anything to watch this video, you're probably logged in and you've probably indicated that your age is above 18. And we don't have too much to worry about because we've seen our demographic and you're all older leaning. But the problem is if you saw this video link on Twitter and weren't logged in, or maybe you were not logged in on your phone. It's an extra step, and that's going to knock a pretty significant portion of the viewer base off. And also, like, these restrictions, this is more restrictive than Pornhub.com.
Yeah.
Pornhub.com, you don't even have to click anything. You can just go on and start watching hardcore pornography.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if we say the fuck word, you have to log in to watch our videos now. So I do want to make a plea to everyone. Please create your account if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Stay logged in and do us a huge favor. We rarely ask for this because we know how annoying it is, but click the bell.
Yeah.
We never ask you to click the bell.
Never.
Click the bell.
Because it's obnoxious most of the time, but can you not only click it, can you smash that
the bell and the likes?
Not too hard. You want to keep it preserved.
Because we rely outside of YouTube for monetization with sponsors and stuff like that. So if those views go down, so do we. And it's already been a shitty year. And wouldn't that be a terrible way to end things? So obviously most of the people who watch this, like I said, you have accounts, you're over 18. Hopefully it doesn't affect us that much. But it's going to affect a lot of channels out there.
Yeah.
And everything on YouTube is based on views, and this is bad. It means that our videos, though, will probably get buried even deeper by the algorithm. And that is what tends to happen when you get demonetized for not being advertiser friendly. And they've always denied that this happens, but demonetized videos, they do worse because they show up less often in recommendations on the sidebar, and sometimes they don't show up in this subscriber feed.
Yeah.
And I do have to say that we accurately mark, because they give you this thing behind the scenes.
There's a whole fucking survey you have to figure out now.
You have to type in, or you have to indicate what your video has. And we always do it absolutely correctly. Do we have profanity? Yes.
Yeah.
Do we talk about the coronavirus? Yes. Do we mention guns? Yes. And we'll get green on all those. Like, okay, well, you didn't, it's not too bad, so we'll put this up.
Yeah.
And then some fucking asshole, reviewer comes up.
Now they're really going to get us.
I know, and clicks the yellow button, and even though it's completely right, and we've actually had it overturned multiple times.
Yeah.
They turn that yellow button on, we're immediately age restricted. It's harder to watch our videos than watch a dude getting...
It would be nice if they're, in addition to all these other algorithms, they had an algorithm for like, this channel usually tells the truth.
Yeah.
And we should give them less of a hard time.
So in theory, they do. They have the trust rating.
Yeah.
But our trust rating gets screwed because the human reviewer goes in and looks at it and says, well, they talked about coronavirus. That's pretty much the same thing as showing footage of people getting blown up in one of the wars. So we're going to go ahead and say that this is a mass casualty video.
Yeah.
That
we're going to mark the last like 20 videos.
And
oh, sorry, your trust rating just fell to 0.
Exactly. That's exactly what happens, and it's so frustrating. So again, I say, we never say this, hit the fucking bell, please.
Anyways, in fairness, YouTube, they do have reasons for making these changes. It would be better if they just hired more humans that weren't idiots. But specifically, a former content moderator is now currently suing YouTube for allegedly giving her depression and PTSD due to watching so many videos of beheadings, child abuse, and other disturbing content. I mean, think about the most disturbing video that you've ever watched, and now imagine having to watch that video and videos like it all day long as your job. We've talked about these kinds of jobs at Facebook and how miserable it makes the people doing it. But YouTube, of course, they're also home to all sorts of reprehensible content, and artificial intelligence can only do so much to combat it. At some point, a human has to be involved, and like with Facebook, it sounds like YouTube doesn't do a very good job at trying to keep their content moderators sane and healthy in the process.
Yeah. From CNET, who first broke the story, the proposed class action lawsuit accuses YouTube of violating California law by failing to provide a safe workplace for content moderators and not doing enough to safeguard their mental health. Moderators spend more than 4 hours a day reviewing graphic video content because YouTube is, quote, chronically understaffed, the suit says. These long hours run afoul of YouTube's best practices, according to the lawsuit. Workers are required to review between 100 and 300 pieces of content per day with an error rate of 2 to 5%, creating stress and increasing the risk that content moderators develop psychological trauma from the job, according to the lawsuit. The former moderator, who isn't named, is seeking medical treatment, compensation for the trauma she suffered, and the creation of a YouTube-funded medical monitoring program that would screen, diagnose, and treat content moderators. She worked at YouTube through the staffing agency Calavera in an office in Austin, Texas from January 2018 to August 2019. Calavera and YouTube didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. During her time on the job, the worker saw thousands of disturbing videos that showed graphic images such as people eating from a smashed open skull, school shootings of dead children, a fox being skinned alive, and a person's head getting run over by a tank, the lawsuit said.
Jesus.
She suffered from psychological trauma from the job and paid out of pocket to get treatment, according to the lawsuit. And I don't even know if we should bleep some of those words I said because this video is going to get age-gated because of it.
Listen, moderator who's age-gating our video,
please,
we sympathize with you.
We're telling the story.
We want you to get better health benefits for your shitty job.
We've said it multiple times, too. We support you. We just think that, being a bit unfair.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Let's make a deal. You choose not to demonetize and age-gate this video, and we'll keep reporting on how poorly YouTube treats you.
Yes.
How about that?
Yeah.
Anyway, also from the article, YouTube also didn't do enough to provide support for these employees after they started their job, according to the lawsuit. The company allows workers to speak with wellness coaches, but the coaches don't have medical expertise and aren't available to moderators who work at night. The ex-moderator who is suing YouTube sought the advice of a wellness coach in 2018 after she felt traumatized by a video she reviewed. The coach recommended the worker take illegal drugs and didn't provide any resilience training or ways to cope with her symptoms, according to the lawsuit. Another coach told a content moderator to just trust in God. The Human Resources Department also didn't provide content moderators with any help, and YouTube requires workers to sign non-disclosure agreements, making it harder for them to talk about their problems.
That wellness coach? Kanye West.
It's trust in God.
Yeah.
God's plan.
Buy land. Anyways, the lawsuit is being handled by the same law firm that successfully sued Facebook on behalf of content moderators who said almost the exact same stuff about their jobs, winning $52 million, though when you break it down, the content moderators themselves, as is tradition, didn't walk away with a whole lot. And many are still dealing with the PTSD and will keep dealing with that for the rest of their lives.
Doesn't really go away so easy.
We can probably expect a similar outcome here and plenty more similar lawsuits in the future if companies don't take a more proactive approach on this subject. And, if those moderators don't exist, then any YouTube video with a black guy in it's just going to get cropped out completely. You're not going to be able to see anything.
Hey, we noticed your video is in a weird aspect ratio. We went ahead and cropped it for you.
If YouTube had their way, it would only be showing you in this entire video.
Yeah. Anyways, before we get to more news, it's time for a word from this week's sponsors, starting with Upstart. During these economically turbulent times, everyone's looking for a way to feel more financially secure. So if you're still needlessly throwing money every month at high-interest credit card debt, it's time you checked out Upstart, the revolutionary online lending platform that knows you're more than just a credit score. Now's the time to find out how low your Upstart rate can be to help pay off high-interest credit card debt.
I wish this company was around 10 years ago when I was neck deep in it. Unlike other lenders, Upstart can reward you based on your education and your job history in the form of a smarter rate. You don't need a degree or diploma to apply, though. Upstart lets you skip going to the bank because it's completely online. They offer loans from $1,000 to $50,000 so you can consolidate your debt into one easy fixed rate payment. Upstart makes it fast and simple to check your rate. So it's just a soft pull. It doesn't affect your credit score. The hard pull happens if you accept your rate and proceed with the application. Now, the best part, if the loan is approved and accepted, most people get their funds the next business day.
Over 40,000 people have used Upstart to pay off credit cards or meet their financial goals. Free yourself from the burden of high-interest credit card debt and get back to using your money your way with Upstart. See why Upstart has a 4.9 out of 5 rating on Trustpilot and hurry to upstart.com/newsday to find out how low your Upstart rate can be. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes. That's upstart.com/newsday. Here's the disclaimer. Your loan amount will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Not all applicants will qualify for the full amount.
There you go.
Beep.
And the episode today is sponsored by one of our favorites, Mack Weldon.
Literally wearing Mack Weldon sweatpants right now.
I love my Mack Weldon underwear. They keep me sanitary
Underwear,
and fresh.
socks. I'm a fan.
The pants. Love the pants. The new normal uniform has a lot of us searching our closets and drawers for men's essentials that just aren't there. Instead of the usual business casual button-ups and jeans, it's soft knit polos, tees, joggers, and active shorts. Whatever men's basics you need, Mack Weldon has you covered with unmatched comfort and fit. Mack Weldon is a men's essentials company with socks, shirts, hoodies, underwear, polos, and active shorts that promise comfort and a consistent fit. They look great. They feel great. I'm going to have to order some hoodies and more sweatpants soon because, not
Winter's
soon in
coming.
LA.
Time to really start dressing.
But fall started this week.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Fall.
We have another week of like 100-degree weather, and then it'll start cooling off.
Yeah, then you can really start dressing.
Anyways, from working out, going to work, or on a date, or sitting behind that laptop and going on a virtual meeting, Mack Weldon is for everyday life.
Yeah, no, like the last 6 months, I have almost exclusively worn my various Mack Weldon pants, shorts, whatever. I love them. You can really get away with wearing them out on the town as well.
You're
gonna fool people.
They're extremely comfortable, but they look like you actually care about what you're wearing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Life hack. Mack Weldon's wide range of customized fabrics can keep up with you no matter what your day looks like. And with Weldon Blue, their totally free loyalty program, level 1 gets you free shipping for life, and once you reach level 2 by spending $200, you get 20% off every order for the next year.
Damn.
Mack Weldon wants you to be comfortable, so if you don't like your first pair of underwear, you can keep it and they'll still refund you, no questions asked. For 20% off your first order, visit MackWeldon.com/Newsday and enter promo code Newsday. That is MackWeldon.com/Newsday, promo code Newsday for 20% off. Mack Weldon, reinventing men's basics.
Get the underwear and the pants. You'll love it.
You're gonna like the pants.
All right, back to the news now, though. This coronavirus thing, I don't know if we should say that out loud to get this video age-gated. It sure has messed everything up for a lot of people, hasn't it? The job market sucks. A lot of people have lost their income. And with the U.S. now past the 6-month mark with the virus and no more economic stimulus in sight, a lot of people are basically shit out of luck, and they're being evicted from their homes. It's been called an eviction crisis, and in addition to its effect on the tenants being evicted, it's probably going to have serious, long-lasting negative effects on the entire economy. But that doesn't mean there isn't opportunity to be found in this crisis. For example, if you're staring down the possibility of your own eviction, why not sign up with this new gig economy startup, Civil, and help landlords evict their tenants? Hey, boss, who you need me to go kick out today? Hey.
So Civil, that's CIVVL, which Motherboard calls Uber, but for evicting people.
What a lovely name, too.
Yeah, they describe themselves as, on their website as, the fastest growing money-making gig due to COVID-19. And they've been posting Craigslist ads all across the country, which all read, unemployment is at a record high and many cannot or simply are not paying rent and mortgages. We are being contracted by frustrated property owners and banks to secure foreclosed residential properties. There is plenty of work due to the dismal economy. We're seeking clean-out crews, eviction crews, independent contractors, and process servers.
We need some muscle.
Yeah. They promise up to $125 an hour. That up to is always a big red flag.
Yeah.
But also a flexible schedule, quick payments, and plenty of work assignments.
You're your own boss.
Yeah, so this job opportunity, which might mean the difference between having a place to live and being evicted for a lot of people, is literally evicting other people from their homes. It's dystopian as hell. I hate it.
Oh. Evict yourself. Make some money while you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's also got to be emotionally difficult for a lot of people. In a recent CNN report on evictions, a guy working for a landlord clearing out an old lady's apartment can be seen crying and telling the cameras, maybe today it's her, tomorrow it's me.
Yeah, this is rough to watch.
Yeah, but hey, work is work. Sorry, I don't know. Anyways, in case you don't know, the CDC ordered a halt to all evictions nationwide at the beginning of September. You just need to fill out a written declaration. And there's lots of tenants' rights groups out there to provide resources if you're worried about eviction. So please seek all the resources that are available to you.
If your landlord comes to you and says you gotta go, don't just take them at their word.
Don't trust them.
Don't trust your landlord. Landlords
They rely on you being stupid and not looking this up.
Yeah, they're not your friend.
No. They will do whatever they can to get you out. But you have at least a few months of leeway right now, as long as you know your rights and you don't let your landlord intimidate or lie to you. So please use the resources that are available.
Yeah, and another trick they try to do is that when they try to take you to eviction court, a lot of times, this is like straight out of the landlord playbook, is to try to get you to not even bother showing up. They're like, look, we got this in the bag. You're wasting your time even showing up to court. Like, we're gonna win. Mm-hmm. They do that because if you show up and provide, evidence of your finances and you actually question, how good of a tenant you were, how often you did pay rent, you have a much better shot at holding on to your apartment for at least a little while.
Yes.
If you don't show up, you lose, you give up. And It's tough. Despite the CDC order, a lot of states and like cities are just like, I think we'll interpret this our own way. But like, you definitely you've got a chance. There's resources.
If only we had a national plan.
Nah, that sounds like communism.
If only we had a structured plan that would allow people to stay in their homes and apartments, while at the same time, landlords weren't facing bills that were piling up at the same time.
Yeah.
It's almost like that could have offset this, or we could have just gone into a real lockdown for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, this is what I've been saying since the beginning of this shit, is that all they had to fucking do was be like, 6 to 12 weeks, we're suspending rent, we're suspending mortgages, so
landlords
don't have to worry about money either. So that covers all that. And for mortgages, it's not even like the banks would be losing money. You just say move these 4 months to the end.
We bailed you out 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Do us a favor.
If they had just done those 2 things.
Also, we're going to send everyone like $500 every 2 weeks for food.
Yeah, if they'd done that plus whatever little like stimulus package or whatever, even if it was like EBT or one of those like nanny state fucking like you can't spend it on anything but food.
We're giving you a Ralph's gift card.
Yeah, even if it was that kind of shit, like way more people would have been like, all right, fine, I'll just go to Costco, fill up my fridge, and just chill here for a couple weeks. But they never did that. So like right off the bat, the real estate market was just like, hold on a second, wait, you're telling me I can't kick people out onto the street? And
and I'll say it again, like 10 years from now, 15 years from now, whatever's left of society, hopefully it's very good. Would love to see that. But like looking back on this fucking year is going to be like telling a war story. Like, oh, you couldn't believe how stupid everything was.
Yeah.
At all times.
The solutions were simple and they were right there, but we didn't do any of them.
Yeah.
Because the economy.
The abundance of Karen videos only started slowing down because the Karens got bored.
Yeah.
They're like, man, I'm tired of going out and causing trouble all day, every day. It's like a kid. You just leave them alone long enough, they get bored.
Anyways, moving on now.
Yeah.
A few years back, we talked about the annual Ig-Nobel Prize, which is an award ceremony for scientists who enjoy a nice little goof. The Ig-Nobel Prize is awarded to scientific research that's unusual and or trivial, and its stated goal is to honor achievements that first make people laugh and then make them think. So let's look at a few of this year's winners.
First up, the award for Acoustics was given to a team of researchers who got an alligator to bellow in an airtight chamber filled with helium to test whether alligator vocalizations are a way to communicate to other alligators how big they are.
Yeah. And it seems they discovered that, yes, somehow. I looked at the audio, though. I was hoping the alligator would be like, oh! It wasn't. It was just a very slight difference. Still very deep.
And then that alligator floated away.
Yeah. The award for psychology went to a study that found that distinctive, well-groomed eyebrows can be a physical sign of narcissistic personality disorder.
Jeez, Eugene Levy's like the nicest person on earth.
You think? That's what you think.
No, he doesn't trim them at all. They're just wild.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
His eyebrows are distinctive. They're not well-groomed.
No, they're not well-groomed.
They're wild. And
that's why you know he's a nice guy.
Like, I bet if you Photoshop normal eyebrows on Eugene Levy, he'd be unrecognizable.
His son has somewhat normal eyebrows.
Now, his son is clearly his father's son.
They look identical.
Well, he's got the half-Gentile Eugene Levy eyebrows, which are toned down a bit, but he still looks like Eugene Levy's son.
Yeah, there you go. His daughter doesn't look anything like him.
No.
The Ig Nobel Prize for Peace went to the governments of India and Pakistan for having their diplomats ring each other's doorbells in the middle of the night and run away, which is apparently a real thing that happened in addition to a ton of other passive-aggressive and straight-up aggressive incidents between the two rival countries.
Yeah, they're... obviously those two countries fucking hate each other, but I didn't know the lengths to it.
They like a good romp.
Yeah, they're always just like turning off each other's electricity, like just real juvenile stuff.
That one was for the hospital.
But their diplomats literally ding-dong ditch each other in the middle of the night.
Yeah, well.
Really get them. I wonder if they've TP'd each other's houses.
Probably.
The Ig Nobel Prize for Physics went to a study of Faraday waves, which are the distinctive shapes and patterns that you get when you vibrate liquid at specific frequencies. They're very cool.
Yes.
I love watching videos of them. Anyway, the researchers wanted to know if you'd get Faraday waves by vibrating earthworms. And the answer apparently is yes.
That's how you find earthworms too, right? You have to vibrate the ground?
I don't know.
Yeah, You go if you're hunting for worms, you go around, you make some, you like stomp on the ground in certain places. Or people get like these poles with ridges on them, and you put the pole like an inch into the ground, and you go up and down it like. Brr, 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 brr,
yeah, you go get some worms.
If you need to go fishing and you need worms,
I need worms, and I'm buying the store-bought worms.
That's how birds do it. Birds sit there and go.
Huh? Like, do they think it's raining? So they come up.
Yeah, I think they come up to get water or something.
Interesting.
And then they just die. They get ripped out.
Yeah. I mean, they're worms. Who cares? And they're basically liquid. So yeah, if you put them on a resonating speaker, they start involuntarily forming shapes.
They should have just hooked some electrodes to that. Remember when all those worms got wrapped together in that sewer, and it was just that giant breathing ball?
That was horrible.
Yeah, it looked like an Aphex Twin music video.
Yeah.
The Ig-Nobel Prize for Economics went to a study that found that in countries with higher income inequality, people kiss their partner on the lips more often, which they conclude might have to do with maintaining strong long-term bonds in harsh environments.
Yeah.
You got to look for the bright side.
The Ig Nobel Prize for Management went to a story that we talked about a while back on Weekly Weird News. Someone in China hiring a hitman who hired a hitman who hired a hitman who hired a hitman, with each subcontracted hitman being for less money, and no murder ever taking place in the end because the last hitman wasn't worth it, so he made a deal with the intended victim to simply fake their death in a photo. So, yeah.
Great.
The prize, that's best management of the year.
Yeah. The Ig Nobel Prize for Entomology went to a study that found that many entomologists who study insects are afraid of spiders, which are not insects. There you go.
Yeah, that's cool. The Ig Nobel Prize for Medicine went to research that discovered a new medical condition, misophonia, which is distress at hearing other people make chewing sounds and like lip smacking.
If I'm affected by this, do I get any financial compensation?
You may be entitled to compensation. the mesothelioma? No, misophonia.
Yeah, same thing. Give me money.
Sounds pretty serious.
Yeah. I got it from working down at the car factory. Everyone in their lunch break. Disgusting. The Ig Nobel Prize for Medical Education went to Donald Trump, Boris Johnson, Jair Bolsonaro, Vladimir Putin, and several other world leaders, quote, for using the COVID-19 viral pandemic to teach the world that politicians can have a more immediate effect on life and death than scientists and doctors can. Basically, they're calling out all these world leaders for ignoring scientific expertise and getting people killed. A fun prize.
Yeah. And finally, the prize for materials science went to the poop knife.
Everyone has a poop knife.
Not the Reddit poop knife that we constantly reference on this show, which is hilarious.
You sure?
Just look it up. I don't want to explain the poop knife. Rather, this was a study into an old Inuit legend about a man who supposedly sharpened a knife out of his own frozen feces and used it to kill a dog and then used that dog's ribcage as a sled to survive in the wilderness because someone stole his tools or something. So researchers, they wanted to see if it was possible. So they tested whether frozen shit could in fact be sharpened into a usable knife that could pierce an animal hide. But the result, unfortunately, was just poop streaks and no cuts on some dead animals.
It's just a poopsicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And just...
They should have given it to the real poop knife.
Yeah.
Which is when you take a poop that's too big, so you get your poop knife out and you cut it up.
It's not flushing. It's just spinning around in a circle in there. Needs... it's like feeding a baby. You wouldn't hand a baby a hot dog. You cut that up. You slice it up for the baby.
Anyways, finally, we talked recently about how Microsoft's decision to name their next console the Xbox Series X might be a little confusing for people who aren't totally aware of all the various Xboxes out there. Parents and grandparents being those people.
Yeah.
Especially, maybe they're dyslexic.
Yeah.
That's also
a lot of X's in there.
Well, we might have been right again, because earlier this week, sales of the Xbox One X, which is not the new next-gen version, they went up by what seems to be a whole lot on Amazon, which, the sales rank went from 2,804 to number 331. So
it's a big jump.
A lot of people are buying these thinking that they're getting the next-gen console for their kids.
That's what it would seem. I mean, I guess it's entirely possible that a whole bunch of people were like, cool, they announced a new console.
Wow, it's here already.
The sales rank increased by 747%. Some have pointed out that this is not the same as actual unit sales going up by that much, but still, just going up that much in ranking.
It's got to be something.
Yeah, it's got to be something. Other people have pointed out that this may have just been a bunch of poorly trained bots that were meant to buy up the next-gen Xboxes that just went on sale, but they screwed up, so they instead bought up all the previous similarly named consoles instead.
That would be hilarious.
Which is very funny. Some stupid hackers like, I have 700 Xbox One X's that I need to get rid of now. But yeah, we choose to believe that it is in fact a bunch of people, grandmas and parents, who fully intended to purchase the latest Xbox console, but fucked up because they were confused about the name. It's just funnier.
And it's, you know, a cherry on top of an already terrible year is some kid opening up a console they already
got
own.
you the new Xbox. You're like, what is this?
And it's also sad because you know those parents and grandparents, their heart was in the right place.
Yeah.
And so were their wallets.
He's going to be so excited. It's all he's been talking about with his friends.
And then these little dipshits are going to throw a fit and you're going to break grandma's heart.
Yeah.
And you're going to kill grandma.
Yeah.
Because you've been going to school all
Yeah. Grandma shouldn't be there.
Grandma's going to die knowing how depressed you were at her gift.
Yeah.
What a way to end the year.
Yeah.
Anyways, please watch our most recent videos over here. We got just an episode about Bethesda being bought by Microsoft and Quibi trying to get bought by anyone.
Yeah.
And also an episode of Weekly Weird News. Check both of those out. We'll be back for some news dump and some Weekly Weird News again for this week. See you all very soon.
Bye-bye.